Just because you've got a limited company doesn't mean you won't be made personally liable for some of the company debts. Chris Worden, director first. I know I've got your attention. Obviously, a lot of directors think out there, because I'm a limited company director, I could never be made personally liable for any of the debts. And although in principle, a limited company structure protects you, the director, from personal liability, there are circumstances where that veil of incorporation is lifted, and you get chased and made personally liable for company debts. And I'm going to give you a few examples. Bounce back loan misuse or C-bills misuse. If you've misused the bounce back loan or the C-bills, you've spent it personally, you've applied for it when you shouldn't have applied for it, you've spent it on things that you shouldn't have done, you've took too much than you was entitled to, and you go into insolvency, you're going to be chased. You're going to be, the insolvency practitioner is going to try and make you personally liable for some or all of that bounce back loan or C-bills, okay? So if you've done that, you need to take advice really, really quickly. You need to get it on the table early doors. Another thing where you could be made personally liable for business debts is if you've made preference payments. So let's say towards the end of your business's life, you've sort of seen the writings on the wall and you've got, 30 grand in the account. You've thought, right, well, I've personally guaranteed that loan to them of 25 grand. So I'm going to pay that personal guarantee off and then I'm going to liquidate. Well, when you become insolvent, and just so you understand, insolvency is deemed when you can't afford to pay your debts on time or your liabilities are more than your assets. And when that happens, you need to stop paying everybody. Because if you pay one person over another, you've paid them preferentially. And it's going to be easy for an insolvency practitioner to spot it. And if you have, they'll probably take action against you to recover that money. Be really careful how you do it. Another way that you could be made personally liable for business debts is an overdrawn director's loan account. An overdrawn director's loan account is when you owe the company money at the end of the business life. Honestly, I bet I have 90% of inquiries have an overdrawn director's loan account. Some know about it, some don't. The easiest way for you to understand whether you have an overdrawn director's loan account is to speak to your accountant. It should be on your last set of accounts. The problem is with your last set of accounts, they're quite out of date. So you would check on like Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, pull off a trial balance or a P&L, and it should show your director's loan account where it sits on the basis that you update it regularly. If you've got an overdrawn loan account, that is where an insolvency practitioner is going to come and ask you for that money. They're going to try and make you personally liable. Again, with an overdrawn loan account, you're still going to be able to get a deal done with the insolvency practitioner, but it's important that you understand your position up front before you make any decisions. Another area where you might be made personally liable is selling assets under value. It's called a transaction under value. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Yeah, you're selling assets under value. So let's say you've got assets that are worth £100,000. You're coming towards the insolvency, and before you appoint a liquidator, you sell them to Barry down the pub for £5,000. Well, the liquidator is going to know that you've sold them assets because they're going to be in your last set of accounts, and they're going to go, Jonathan, why have you sold £100,000 worth of plant for £5,000? There is no Jonathan. I'm just making the name up, but you get the idea. And if they find that you've sold assets for less than what they're worth, again, that's where you can be made personally liable. Another thing I want to talk about is something called a personal liability notice. And this is where the HMRC, they basically will make a director personally liable for some of the business tax that's been built up. Generally with PAYE, if you've purposefully, increased your wages and just not paid the PAYE for some time, the HMRC could stick a personal liability notice against you, the director, for unpaid taxes. The solution to all of this stuff really is to have good, honest, transparent conversations with insolvency people early doors. We're very happy to help you. If you want some more help understanding your position, reach out to us. Chris Worden, director first. Thank you.